Hello, Kay here. Have you ever found yourself in life somewhere you didn't want to be, or somewhere you didn't know where you were, or perhaps an unexpected place? Well, the day I got lost on a woodsy hike is the day I found out I need to pay attention. I'd been walking along, enjoying the trail. I'd been on the trail before. It wasn't like it was a brand new trail. I enjoyed it. I was looking at the birds and the trees, and the sun was shining, and I was singing and talking to myself. There was nobody else there. I can do all the talking to myself I want to. And I was doing a good bit of it until suddenly I walked up to a shoreline. I practically walked into the water before I stopped and looked down and thought, there's no shoreline on this hike. I've been on this hike before and there's no shoreline. So where am I? Ah! It reminded me of a story that I was told from a friend of mine who said he was traveling down a road, a highway type road, not interstate, but a highway type road that he knew. He'd been on it many times and he knew where it went. So when he arrived at a dead end, he said, "What happened? There's no dead end on this road. This is a through road. What in the world am I looking at?" Well, I was looking at my dead end because the path didn't go any further. I was at the shoreline. I looked one side and I looked at the other side, trying to find a familiar outcropping, perhaps, or a familiar thing to look at, some kind of landmark that I could relate to. And I saw nothing that looked familiar. And there were no other people around and no cell signal. So I was just on my own on this. How many times do we do that? We stand in our life, we're stuck. We're someplace we didn't expect to be, or someplace we particularly don't want to be. I was confused. I didn't know what to think. I was trying to figure it out. Does that sound familiar? I was looking here and there and doing my best to put the pieces in order, but I didn't have the main. I didn't have the. If you ever do a puzzle, you have the box that has the picture on it, right? And you look at the picture to put the jigsaw puzzle together. I didn't have a box cover and a picture. I did not know how to put the pieces together. That's the way it is with us sometimes. How long do we stay in a state of confusion, trying to figure out how we got someplace, trying to figure out why we're there, trying to figure out all the different aspects of it, when what we need to do is what I finally did. I spent way too much time trying to figure it out. I actually walked down a little ways and then walked back a little ways. And I spent way too much time trying to figure it out. How much time do we spend trying to figure things out instead of taking the action we know we need to take, right? The obvious action that I needed to take was to do a 180, turn completely around, and go back up the path that I had just come down. We almost always know the first step, the first action to take to get out of our situation, but sometimes we don't want to take it. We spend too much time trying to figure it out. We don't need to figure it out. We need to turn around. We need to take the action that's necessary to get out of our mess. We need to go back the way we came, or we need to take the next step to make a change. Let me encourage you to do that. I went back the way I came until I got to the first crossroads. It really wasn't crossroads. It's more like where the path joined another path. By then I was so confused because of trying to figure everything out, and the confusion was just raining in my mind. I sat down. Now I want to tell you that is the right thing to do. Sit down until the dust settles. Sit down until your mind clears. Now, in our journey through life, when we're trying to grow and improve ourselves, this may be the point in time we sit down and listen to our mentor. Or we sit down and read a book or listen to some podcasts. It's where we sit down and intentionally learn what we need to learn, listen to what we need to listen to the people that we need to listen to. And we stay there. I sat there on the ground waiting until I knew exactly where I was, until I knew that this was a side trail I had wandered down that I'd never wandered down before, until I knew that I was looking at the main path instead of another side trail. I needed to know that, didn't I? I needed to know this was the main path because I knew the main trail. I just hadn't been down all the side trails. But I needed to know this was the main trail. I needed to know that was a side trail behind me, and I needed to know which direction to take to get back to the parking lot. And I needed to know, now this was a loop trail. So the truth is, I could have gone either direction because in a loop trail, the beginning and the end is the same spot. It just creates a loop, not really a circle, but the idea of a circle. It just goes around and around and comes back to the same spot. But I really wanted to take the shorter route out instead of the longer route, and I needed to know for sure which way that was because it was getting a little bit later in the afternoon, and I would like to get back to the parking lot before it got dark. After a few minutes, my mind cleared, and I knew exactly where I was. I knew it was the main trail. I knew exactly which direction to go. I knew exactly what had happened. And all was good with the world again. The sun was shining again. The birds were singing again. And I went walking off along toward the exit. But I was paying a little bit more attention to where I was going. Sometimes we saunter through life just enjoying the journey. Nothing wrong with enjoying the journey. Not at all. But we do need a plan. And we do need to pay attention to whether we're following the plan. We need to pay attention to whether the things we're doing help us or hurt us. Once we do that, we're paying a little bit of attention. You know, when you're walking on a trail, you're hiking, you kind of need to pay attention to whether you're going to step in a mud hole or not. You need to pay attention enough to know if you're going to trip over that root coming up or not. You've got to pay a little bit of attention in your journey through life. We can't just saunter along singing a song of joy and listening to the birds, although I love to do that. I do. But we want to be sure we get back to the parking lot in the right length of time. We want to be sure that we're only taking the side trails we plan to take and don't find ourselves off on a shoreline. We don't know where we are or how to get back. So let me encourage each of us to have a plan for our life, to pay attention to the things along the way. Is that route in front of us? Are those things, are those people in our life, are those voices that are speaking to us, are those voices helping us? Are they encouraging us? Are they affirming us? Are they pulling us down? Pay attention and make some decisions like that. And if you need to stop and sit down and listen to the right people and listen and learn, then take the time to do that until you're sure which direction you need to go, until you're sure you're on the main path and you know you can get back to the parking lot before dark. Happy traveling.